What's good, fight fans? Welcome back to another episode of Combat and Kick It with your host, Bando. I just got done doing the high-stakes fighter breakdown for Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, so you already know I gotta come through for Justin Gaethje. So this is the high-stakes fighter breakdown for Justin Gaethje. Let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. Let's smoke. So we are talking about Justin the Highlight Gaethje. That name sums it up right there. Justin Gaethje is a walking highlight, right? You already know you get excitement anytime that man steps in the octagon. It's going to be an exciting fight. And it doesn't really even matter who it's against because he's always going to try to force it to be an exciting fight. Justin Gaethje is one of the most violent UFC fighters as well. So there's just pure entertainment for a fight fan on any level. Even if you're not even a UFC fan, you get into a Justin Gaethje fight, he'll change your mind. I promise you'll end up being a UFC fan after watching one of his fights. But going into this one, we got Gaethje versus Pimblett. We've seen Gaethje in this position before. We've seen him in the 5-round championship contest. We've seen him against top-tier guys. We've seen him in the main event. We've seen him in big arenas, in big moments. We've seen him do it. Right, it's no stranger to Justin Gaethje. So I think going into this fight, that does benefit him a little bit. But Gaethje is someone who 1 minute he's up, next minute he's leveling out, back then he's up, then he's leveling out, then he's up, then he's leveling out. He never really gets on a streak of where he's like, oh, Justin Gaethje's 0-4 in his last 4 fights. He never really gets on a streak like that. Gaethje stays pretty consistent. He's got a 70% finish rate in the UFC, which, I mean, extremely solid. Very difficult division to do that in if you really think about it. The lightweight division is one of the most stacked divisions for years. I mean, years that's been one of the most stacked divisions. And Justin Gaethje to be able to have a 70% KO or 70% finish rate in the division period, just unbelievable. And then not only that, he's got the most post-fight bonuses. So, like I said, the name, the highlight, it sticks. It's there for a reason, and it's simple as that. When you look at Justin Gaethje, he's been in there with some of the best fighters you could potentially ever get in the octagon with. Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier, 2 different times. Second time, he knocked him out with a head kick. No one would have ever expected Justin Gaethje to win by head kick in that fight, and he won by a head kick in that fight. So having fights against Max, having fights against Dustin, he's fought Michael Johnson back when Michael Johnson was actually potentially a terror. I mean, he was putting on really good performances at that time. Justin Gaethje came in, debut fight against Michael Johnson. That's not an easy one. Came in, got it done. Beautiful win. He's fought Rafael Fiziev twice. He's fought Michael Chandler. Fought Khabib. He was the reason that Tony Ferguson fell. I mean, the whole aspect of Tony Ferguson's career on that downfall all started with Justin Gaethje, because Justin Gaethje's win wasn't just a win. That was a soul snatching. As much as I love Tony and I don't want to be like that, it was a soul snatching performance because, one, Tony was training so much for Khabib and everything like that, and that was the build-up. That's what everybody wanted. That's where people were going. And Gaethje came in and took not only the soul of Tony Ferguson, but took the soul of the fans wanting to see that fight, completely wiped it out, didn't even make it an opportunity, didn't even make it a chance. But that was one of the best fights I've ever seen Justin Gaethje perform in. And it was a different version of Justin Gaethje. We knew that he was going to come into that fight violent. You knew he was going to come in trading shots. You knew he was going to get excited in those moments. But even after being in danger, when Tony hit him with that uppercut at the end of the first round and almost finished him, came out like an absolute dog. Him and Trevor Whitman worked in that corner. It looked like Gaethje was fighting with intensity, IQ, and he just wanted to finish that fight. It was just an amazing performance on Gaethje's end. And I'll always bring that up when talking about Justin Gaethje because I'm a huge Tony Ferguson fan. So seeing that fight, seeing how that went down, that low-key broke my heart as a fan. But as a fan of the fight game, doesn't matter who you love, who's your favorite, no matter what, you cannot deny when someone puts on a top-tier performance. Took the soul of James Vick. You know, James Vick was on, not like he was a terror at the time, but, you know, a dude on the path coming up wasn't awful, wasn't great, but from that point on, kind of just went downhill. That happens in this game. That happens in this game, man. Sometimes you go in there with a confidence that you could be able to beat somebody, and they go in there and they make it look easy. It is a soul-snatching type of thing. Definitely kills the ego. You know what's crazy to me? Justin Gaethje is an all-American wrestler. And in the octagon, it's like his body rejects wrestling. He can't even properly wrestle. He shoots for a takedown and he's over here doing 6-7 flips and then he's back on his feet. It's like his body literally rejects him from being able to wrestle. And it's one of the things that got him into the whole fight game in general was his wrestling. So it's just crazy to see how it doesn't get utilized and he doesn't have to utilize it. And we're all kind of sitting back wondering, like, how good is Gaethje's wrestling, because it brought him to the dance in the first place. You never need to see it. You never really get to see it. Gaethje's out there putting on top-tier performances. Doesn't really matter. He's putting on exciting top-tier performances. Every single time he's going out there and getting in a war. I mean, obviously the Khabib fight was a little bit different, but he didn't stop swinging. He didn't stop fighting. He got put on his back foot, and that's the trouble when anybody's going up against a guy like Khabib. You're on your back foot and you're trying to circle the octagon. He's gonna end up catching you. He's gonna end up catching you. He's gonna trap you and he's gonna get you down. And that's unfortunately what happened to Gaethje in that one. But you see so many different performances where he came out, he meets you right in the center of the octagon, immediately trades with a leg kick, starts throwing the hands right off rip. He's ready. I give him props on that. But now we gotta get into the keys to victory for Justin Gaethje against Paddy Pimblett, because there's always certain things you need to get W's in these fights. And what's it going to be for Justin Gaethje? Obviously, those leg kicks. Now, if you watch the Paddy Pimblett high-stakes fighter breakdown, then you saw I broke down how he has a very high stance. He likes to keep that front leg planted out there. It's kind of a negative on his end. This is where Justin Gaethje could capitalize. If he starts early on, which he always does with the leg kicks, you just start working that calf kick. You drain his mobility right off rip, like right from the first round. Right from the first round, you take away his mobility, and he cannot end up getting the same type of shots off that he would. He's not going to be able to plan on that foot. He's going to have to switch stances. You're going to end up probably making him panic, shoot. And Paddy really doesn't do that too often. If you pay attention to the fights, he doesn't do that too often. So I can see Justin Gaethje having a lot of success with that, but it's always a key to victory for Justin Gaethje. Always a key to victory. The next key to victory, I think it's to maintain your distance and maintain the pace. You want to be the guy controlling the pace because you are the one who has the more aggressive style, the more action-packed style. You want to be the one putting Paddy on his back foot right off rip, making it difficult, making it uncomfortable, not making him want to be able to trade in any which way. You should 100% meet him right in the middle, force him back, maintain the pace, maintain the distance, right? You don't want Paddy to get to close the distance too much, because if he can start clinching and getting into certain awkward positions to try to force some sort of submission, you know, it takes away from a lot of the things that Justin Gaethje is best at, like the leg kicks, like trading inside. He's good with the combinations if you're close, but when you're closing the distance in terms of grabbing, like it's clinching and stuff like that, that's where he wants to maintain the distance. Keep Paddy back. Don't allow Paddy to get too close and try to grab. Even though Paddy, like I said, isn't one of those I'm going to shoot for the legs, I'm going to dive, I'm going to wrestle, I'm going to try to force every angle possible that I can end up getting you down type of people. He's not like that, right? He's very defensive when it comes to his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So you don't see him really being the one taking action on it. It kind of just ends up happening for him. So I think Gaethje just needs to maintain the distance, and not nothing crazy, not like just hitting from the outside, not like Israel Adesanya keeping the distance. I'm just being able to control it himself. You know, Paddy's gonna close, get him back, Put him back on his back foot. Force him backwards. Don't allow Paddy to be in a moment where he's comfortable. And when you maintain the pace, you bring that action-packed, aggressive style right off rip. And Paddy, I talked about one of the things that Paddy has to do is weather the storm. Well, Gaethje's got to bring the storm. You bring that storm in the first round, we'll see how Paddy reacts to it. I thought Michael Chandler was going to do that, and Chandler seemed like he tried, but it just did not look like the best version of Chandler in my opinion. And maybe he just didn't have an answer for the style of Paddy Pimblett. Paddy does have a very different style than most fighters. So I'm curious to see how it is going to work out in this fight. But I think if Gaethje's aggressive right off rip, in his face, landing calf kicks, throwing different combinations, making it a little bit aggressive, making it more of a dogfight, we're going to have to see where Paddy's at. And then I think the other key to victory for Gaethje is counter-striking. Right? If you watch, and it's more in his adjustments. You watch that Michael Chandler fight, right? You go back to that where Chandler was landing good shots in the first round. Gaethje was landing good shots in the first round too, but Chandler was winning the first round. But you kind of saw Gaethje start throwing that uppercut or looking for that uppercut, but it just wasn't quite there, right? And then he landed it once in the second round, and then here comes a big one. Boom! Drops him in the second round with that uppercut. That's the type of thing I think with his counter punches, right? Michael Chandler came in, boom, uppercut right to the jaw, dropped him. Right, there was a lot of counter punching in the Tony Ferguson fight. I could post multiple different clips of just him landing different counters. He's got good counter punches in that last Rafael Fiziev fight where I didn't expect him to be able to just go in there and control the whole fight, and he did. He fought fantastic in that fight, and that's a great way to come back after getting KO'd. And yeah, he's very good on the counter striking. Very good when it comes to counter striking, but not like a step back slick counter striker, but kind of like a boxing counter striker where if you miss, he might end up landing something damaging. I'd say maybe one last key to victory is that takedown defense, right? He has good takedown defense on a regular opponent. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Paddy is a regular opponent. When he shoots, there's not much of a setup. He leaves his chin wide open. He kind of just shoots, right? There is no real setup. It's not like Khabib. It's not like Islam. It's not even like Charles. Charles don't even shoot that much. But his entries, when he does shoot, right, they're not the most beautiful shots. They're telegraphed, chin wide open. And I think if Justin Gaethje can make him pay, not just avoid and sprawl and stuff the takedown. If you make him pay, woo! If you make him pay in those spots, you'll be good. You'll be good. Damn, voice was cracking and shit. So now, like I said, when you have keys to victory, there's obviously ways you can lose too. And these are the negatives in the fight for Justin Gaethje. First one, man, is don't give up your back. In any possible scenario, do not give up your back. Gaethje has a tendency. You got a tendency to do that. Don't do that. Don't give up your back. Do not allow Paddy. If there is a ground exchange, do not allow him to get your back. If there is a exchange up against the cage, do not allow him to get your back. Whatever the case may be, do not allow him to get your back. And the other thing too is like if you get knocked down, right? I know it's hard to say when you get knocked down, try to get back up. When you get knocked down, Paddy he has great transitions, right? Like I said, you go back to the Bobby Green fight. He had such a clean transition off of the takedown defense. But now if you're talking about getting knocked down, you're on your back. Paddy's going to go right into a position that will lead to a submission. He's not just going to come through, drop down into the guard, and fight you from there. No, he's going to try to either get the finish from dropping you, or he's going to try to jump straight to a submission. So Gaethje got to be careful there, right? He's got to be careful there. I don't know. Is Paddy going to drop him? It's very possible. We're going to have to wait and see. But that leads me to my next negative for Justin Gaethje. And it's a negative just in the career in general. The man takes a lot of damage in these fights, a lot of accumulated strikes that probably don't need to take, Now, I don't see Patty throwing at the volume of Max Holloway, right? But at the same time, the way that Gaethje fights, it forces a different type of fight out of a fighter who's not a brawler, a scrapper. You know what I mean? Like, he might draw that out of Patty, and you might see more volume from Patty, and people land on Justin. It's not like Justin has great head movement or anything like that. People land on Justin, and Justin takes a lot of damage. And if this goes 5 rounds, 4 rounds, you never know. You know what I mean? Like, if it goes into the fourth, he could have taken a lot of shots through the first 3. He might be able to make adjustments in 4 or 5 and get the win, but he might also be pretty damaged, and you might see something that happened in the Max Holloway fight, either in the 4th round or the 5th round. It's very possible, but I think that's always a negative going into a Justin Gaethje fight, is the amount of damage he does take. And I want to go back to the giving up the back thing real quick. When we're talking about him giving up his back, if you watch when he does get knocked down, I said you need to get back up, which is correct. But if you watch, he has a tendency to try to get to his knees to get back up, and he immediately gives up the back. So just, pay attention to moments like that if he does get dropped. But I think there's different ways where he could even, if he backs himself up to the cage, he gets dropped and he backs himself up to the cage, kind of scoots himself back to the cage and gets up that way, he has a better chance of avoiding a submission from Patty, in my opinion, than he would if he just tries to get up the same way that he always does and ends up giving up his back. And then I would say the last negative for Gaethje is just he does have a tendency to get sloppy when he gets a little overzealous, right? And now he is a veteran. He's been in there many times with many top tier guys, right? So obviously he probably knows how to shake that at this point. But sometimes you see him trade a little too much, and he's getting caught with shots. He's always going to get caught with shots, but he gets caught with those damaging ones. You drop back to the Michael Chandler fight when Chandler landed those shots early in the fight. Those were from wild exchanges from Gaethje. And then when Gaethje does get rocked, he throws even more wild. So it's one of those things where Gaethje has to be careful anytime he is just in his flow state, because his flow state sometimes can cause him to be overzealous or overthrow punches, get countered, whatever the case may be. He swings and he swings with power. He swings with a lot of power. So you swing and miss, most likely you're gonna end up not falling over, but you're gonna overthrow, you're gonna slip, you know what I mean? Like, you're gonna lose balance, and that's gonna give Patty either a moment to shoot on him, to clinch on him, to do whatever he possibly can to end up forcing Gaethje to be in a uncomfortable position, because he's just chucking up shots. He's missing. If Patty can make a miss, you never know. Justin does have a slight tendency to get sloppy, but he also does have a tendency to make the proper adjustments going into the later rounds. He's got Trevor Whitman in his corner, and if this fight stays on the feet, Trevor Whitman is a fantastic MMA boxing coach, and he knows how to make the adjustments for his fighter to win. So I can definitely see Justin being able to get it done in the late rounds, and that's like kind of my main prediction, is that Justin Gaethje is going to get it done in the late rounds. But do not be surprised if you see Paddy Pimblett come out with his hand raised. And either way, if we get Paddy Pimblett to win this fight, we have a great build-up with him and Ilya when Ilya comes back. If Justin Gaethje wins this fight, it's a beautiful matchup on the feet between those two, and everybody will love to see it. So either which way, fight fans are going to win. Let's just hope that this fight is an exciting fight, and everything is decisive. I hate when there's a championship fight, whether it's interim or not. I hate when there's a championship fight and it's not decisive. Something, either a fluke decision, a very, very close decision, a draw. I don't want none of that. I don't want none of that. I don't want some shit that happened in that Josh Van fight with Pantoja. I don't want none of that stuff. Nothing like that. All right, nothing like that. I just want a decisive winner who is going to be the guy to fight Ilya Topuria when he comes back. But either which way, that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. You know what to do. Like, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell notification button so you know when the next episode is out. I obviously will come through with a review after UFC 324. And Let's see if the predictions from the breakdown video were right. You never know. You never know. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Your boy Bando is out.